What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another division prediction video. Today we got the NFC West division, and so we're going to predict where each team fits from first to last. And once the season starts, we're going to do weekly pick'em videos where we're going to predict each and every football game this season. And we'll also do some college football once college starts. We're currently at week 2 of preseason football, and college football starts next week. Football is back, baby. Let's go. Let's get started with the NFC West. So, looking at the NFC West, it's a pretty balanced division filled with strong teams, plus the Cardinals. And if you look at the combined record of this division, they combined for 31 wins and 37 losses. So pretty much the 49ers and the Seahawks carried this division. Other than that, this division was overall pretty mid. Now, in first place in this division, I got the Seattle Seahawks, which I know it may be surprising some as the 49ers were favored in this division, but what Seattle did, pretty much the theme of their offseason was to improve what they were good at. And what I mean by that is, if you think of the Seahawks, what are their strengths? Their passing offense and their secondary. How did they improve that? They drafted Jackson Smith-Njigba and Devon Witherspoon. Now, if you look at the Seahawks offense, they have Geno Smith, and I'm a believer in Geno Smith. I don't think he has to be an amazing quarterback to get the job done, especially with the weapons he have on offense. So, and with just more experience, I think he could possibly even improve more. If not, if he plays the same, that's good enough. Now, if you look at this team, their weapons consist of DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and the newly acquired receiver from Ohio State. Plus, they have depth. They drafted receivers in past draft, which are solid. And I know Eskridge, he suspended for a few games. But other than that, they still got that receiver. And if you look at the running backs, they even drafted a running back in Zach Charbonnet coming out of UCLA. And him paired up with Kenneth Walker should be a fun pair as well. Now, an underrated piece about this offense is their consistent investment in the O-line. If you look at their O-line, they drafted 4 of the 5 starters there. So looking at that alone, that's a good sign. Plus, I believe this should be a really good unit, which allows for the run game to do good and enough time for Geno Smith to get the ball out. Now, looking at the defense, they improved this defense by drafting Devon Witherspoon, a corner out of Illinois. They improved what they're good at, which is their secondary. Now, if you look at last year, they ranked 13th in pass yards allowed per game. And it just seems like Seattle always has a good secondary every year, with pieces such as an underrated safety in Diggs, and they also drafted a corner last year with their first-round pick in Tariq Woolen, and they also have Jamal Adams coming back from injury. Now, what this defense is weak at is the run stopping, and they ranked 30th, I believe, in the league last year in rush yards allowed per game. So what did they do to address this? They signed back Bobby Wagner, who is not the same Bobby Wagner as he was back in the Legion of Boom, but he should still be a solid piece. And they also added Nwosu to pair up with an already solid linebacker in Jordan Brooks. And with that said, another weakness is their pass rushers. The pass rushers are weak in this team, but it seems instead of focusing on that issue, they just focus on the strength, which I liked. So just by adding to the secondary. Now, with adding to the secondary, in theory, should improve the pass rush by allowing more time for the pass rushers to get to the quarterback, as long as the Seahawks are mostly in zone defense. So that should be good coverage. With the good coverage, which should allow more time for the pass rushers to get to the quarterback. Even with all that said, it'll still be tough to compete with the second place team. I will give them that. If the 49ers are the second place in this division, and they have a good team. Although the 49ers are a good team, there are some concerns that I have that makes me hesitant to put them over the Seahawks. One of the concerns I have is the quarterback situation. Now, everyone knows that the 49ers want to start Brock Purdy at quarterback, and he did play really good last year. But the question is, will he be able to repeat the success? Consistency is key in a good quarterback. Now, that's a big deal because they have options at quarterback, but no one wants to start Sam Darnold. Trey Lance is still a question mark. And it doesn't seem like they want to give him a chance. It seems they want to start Brock Purdy right away. But having weapons such as Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and a improving Brandon Ayuk does help and make life easier on him. But they also have the best one of the best tight ends in this league in George Kittle, and he's what's really good at is run blocking, which also helps as well. So if you look at the other side of the ball, everyone knows that this is their strong suit is the defense. They ranked first in total yards allowed per game, and if you look closer to this defense, they also ranked 20th in pass defense. Similar to the Seahawks, the 49ers did focus on their strength this offseason by signing Javon Hargrave, which helps strengthen up the D line. And that D line has a ton of depth, including they also have Javon Kinlaw, but they won't be able to play like a certain number of them. They won't be able to play all of them. But when you look at the secondary, this is also the other concern I have. They lost key starters in Emmanuel Mosley and Jimmy Ward. But there are some players in the secondary that I do like, such as Hufanga. He played pretty good last year, and I think he'll do the same this year. But that's just a big concern on his secondary, like who's going to guard the receivers. And with just those concerns with the secondary and the quarterback, it's why I favor the Seahawks over the 49ers. And just looking at the matchups, I think the Seahawks will have a more favorable matchup, in my opinion. But we'll see if that will be the case. This is still a good team. Kyle Shanahan is a good coach. So we'll see. And if Brock Purdy turns out to be good, they can definitely win this division. With the most obvious pick coming in at third, it's probably the Rams. As for the Rams, there's a lot of questions with this team. One of those questions is, will Matthew Stafford play like he did when he won the Super Bowl? If so, they'll probably finish third. And if he doesn't, they'll still probably finish third. So, there's not much they can do. The offensive line, it's not looking great, but one of their strengths is the weapons. They're led by Cooper Kupp, and they have plenty of depth in that room. It also consists of Van Jefferson, a few guys he drafted in the last few drafts. But the O-line, it's suspect. If you look at the defense, it's not the same defense that won them the Super Bowl. It's pretty much Aaron Donald and a bunch of no-names. So this defense is going to struggle, especially the secondary. That secondary is going to struggle, just especially after losing Jalen Ramsey. So a lot of questions, a lot of concerns with this team. If anyone can get the best out of them, it's probably Sean McVay. Still a good coach. He might pull a few wins here and there. So I definitely think they'll get more wins than the Cardinals. And last, we got the Cardinals. I don't have much to say about the Cardinals besides it's probably another contender for Caleb Williams. Well, probably not since they have Kyler Murray, but still they'll be a contender for the first overall draft pick next year. It'll be the Colt McCoy show for the first couple of weeks until Kyler Murray comes back. And even then, they have James Conner. He's solid. They have Hollywood Brown. He's a pretty solid receiver. Other than that, everyone else is mid. The offensive line is still subpar. They did invest in this year's draft by taking Paris Johnson Jr. So I think that will definitely help make it a step up than it was last year. But still, I think it's going to be below average anyways. If you look at the defense, the only good player I like in this defense is Budda Baker. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded. So this team is in complete rebuild mode. And I think, once again, they're going to be rebuilding. And I don't expect them to win much games. So, we'll see. So, looking at this division, I did pick the Seahawks over the 49ers because they did strengthen that passing attack, and I believe the 49ers' weakness will be their secondary. But some can argue that they will not play as bad because how good the front seven is, and the pass rush will allow less time for Geno Smith to get the ball out. But still, I'm going to take the risk on the Seahawks. I think they'll get the best out of the 49ers this year. Pete Carroll's still a good coach. He can get the best out of his players. With that in mind, so I think this team could go far in the playoffs. They might be a dark horse this year for the NFC. But as for the 49ers, they will be a dangerous wildcard team that no one wants to play. for sure. And the Rams, their offense might make some noise, but their defense and their offensive line is going to hold them back. And the Cardinals, they're going to be the Cardinals. They're one of the teams that had never won Super Bowl, and I think that's still going to be the case this year. And they're just going to be competing for the Caleb Williams Bowl, I guess. But yeah, that's the NFC West, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and actually comment down below what you think this division will look like. All right, catch you guys next time. Peace.